Welcome to Eye on Nigeria's capital market. I'm Wole Famrewa. It's a misty day here at the Ibese cement production facility of the Dangote Cement Group. Now, Dangote Cement Company is the largest company listed on Nigerian Stock Exchange and one of several cement producers listed on the bourse. Today, we cast the spotlight on cement companies listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange and the investment opportunities that they provide for those looking for exposure to Nigerian equities. Cement production is one of the fastest growing sectors in Nigeria and is supported by government policies created to drive local production of this essential building material.
When government came up with the issue of backward integration in the year 2000, I believe some people, especially those who are importing cement and making a lot of money from just importing cement, but I felt some pains. Probably some of them would have loved to frustrate the program, or probably even attempted to frustrate the program. Probably the cost of cement might have gone up a little, because there are very cheap cements all over the world where the infrastructure is there, power is there. But then as a nation, what would be our fate if we just buy cement from others, dump in our country, without creating jobs for teeming young men and women? But now the story is different. We will soon enter the Guinness Book of Records as one of the countries that will have the biggest cement factory. Then, of course, we'll also enter the books of cement exporting countries, not just oil exporting countries.
By 2003, our total production was actually 1.8 million tons. And what the government did was actually to bring out a very robust policy by saying that you cannot import cement unless you produce it locally. You know, like what you call a backward integration. After the backward integration, the policy was released. We took that advantage. And you know, in this short period of time from 2004, when we actually started planning, building, and building all these capacities, it has also helped us to go outside Nigeria. In Nigeria alone, we have total capacity of 28 million tons as at now. The 28 million tons as at now capacity that we have built, 20.25 million tons is owned by Dangote Cement PLC. But it has also helped us, the same policy, to go outside Africa with now a target that by 2014 we are going to produce about 60 million metric tons, which will actually put us at about between number 6 to number 8 in the world in terms of a cement company in less than 10 years.
I believe the cement and construction sector is absolutely important. It is big. When you see what we saw today, which is the commissioning of a 6 million metric ton plant, when you see what is happening in terms of changing the dynamics, where Nigeria will certainly move from a net importer of cement to a net exporter, at least first of all to the West African coast. This is absolutely an important sector. This is also a very important time in the history of our nation, because His Excellency President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan is particularly interested in focusing on housing as a sector. And if we're going to have the kind of housing revolution that you saw in Brazil, where President Lula basically decided that they would build 1 million houses for Brazilians every year, which is what I think we should aspire to in Nigeria, then this is the sector to be in. Because just to support infrastructure, to support the housing revolution, there's nowhere else to be. And given what the industry has done over the last 10 years, I do think it's clearly an important sector, and we need to watch this space, given all of the production that is coming into place over the next few years.
Nigeria is a country that's endowed with all the raw materials required to produce cement. You have limestone, gypsum in excess abundance. Then you have energy, which constitutes about 30 to 40% of industry inputs. And it really is a scandal that such a country, or a country so well positioned, has been for the longest time a net importer of cement. So I think the story of the industry is, the transformation that's gone on, basically to harness those opportunities and harness those capabilities and actually bring or make something out of it. Huge gaps in infrastructure and in housing. Housing deficit is put about 60 million units. infrastructure deficits right about $100 to $400 billion, if depending on who you ask. And then you have rapid urbanization. Nigeria has one of the fastest urbanization rates in the world. Lagos, for instance, runs at urbanization rates of estimated 8%. Then you have the supply gap, in the sense that for the longest time, Nigeria's domestic demand has been supplied by imports, coming from around 2006, where we imported as much as 80% of domestic needs, down to maybe 2010, where it came down to about 40, to 2011, about 25. The expectation, though, is that in 2012, Nigeria will be a net exporter. I think you can see how that transition has come about, and just shows you what's going on in the industry.
See, if we take our own group, 10 years back, we started with the cement terminal. And now we have a manufacturing capacity of 20 million tons within Nigeria. And last year's actual consumption, up to December 2011, was 17 million tons. Even if we take 15% growth, it will be 20 million tons, which we have the capacity. You have the capacity of Lafarge, you have the capacity of Unison, Sokoto Cement. So altogether, you have more than 27 million tons of capacity. So this year, the country has to export. We ourselves are putting up 2 export terminals, one for clinker, one for cement. And we have also planned for inland terminals in Benin and in Togo. And also we can even move our cement up to Ghana across the border. So if we don't export, the country will end up with huge capacity of surplus cement. So it is really a revolution. From inception, the entire history of Nigeria, it has been either the #1 exporter or the #2 exporter in the world. The position has been changing between US and Nigeria. But today, it's becoming a net exporter. It's really a remarkable change.
But as Nigeria transits from being one of the world's top importers of cement to a burgeoning exporter, weaknesses in Nigeria's transportation system and energy supply remain key challenges.
Access to markets has been very limited. Cement, of course, is a very bulky product. And the shortages in transport infrastructure has been a major bottleneck in terms of how manufacturers get their product to market. And I think that's just beginning to change with the launching of the rail lines. We saw WAPCO, for instance, beginning to take advantage of that. And just to understand what's going on there, you see that the middlemen, the distributors, sort of are perhaps the most powerful link, where you see gate prices and market prices diverge by as much as 80% in certain cases. And what it does for the industry is that it allows them to get better control of their pricing, better control of their logistics, and they can better optimize the opportunities that they find for themselves between the production and the eventual demand.
However, local producers have found ways to cope with the challenges, and there are strong indications that things are beginning to change.
One of our policies is to make sure that the rail system begins to work, even the narrow gauge that we're using, even before we talked about the standard and the fast. The idea is transporting cement and other heavy materials to be cheaper by rail and to make our roads to last.
Things will change. By the time that actually railways are built, it will help us in terms of reducing the pressure on our roads. Because, for example, as Dangote, we added actually 5,000 trucks to our fleet. Nothing but only to distribute cement. Because if you look at it today, to distribute cement is a major challenge. Because we actually have about 28 million tons across the country. Even though, okay, fine, it's not produced in one location, but it doesn't matter, it will travel 300, 400, 500 kilometers. In some instances, maybe up to even 1,000 kilometers. But we are not waiting for the government to fix the railway. We know that, yes, they are doing quite a lot. They will fix the railway. By the time they fix the railway, then we will downsize our trucking. The reality of the ground is that, yes, sometimes we have a bit of challenges in terms of gas, but it's not really every day that we have challenges of gas. The challenge of gas is there. And that is why we spend quite a lot of money in terms of making sure that we have low fuel oil, which you can use. We have diesel, which you can use. We have coal, which you can use, apart from gas. We have actually 4 sources of running the factory. So if we don't have this, we switch to, another one. So really and truly, when you look at all our factories, we are not connected even to power holding company. We are not connected to any national grid. So I think lazy people, they should stop saying things about that they cannot produce because there's no power in the country. You can generate your own power, you can produce, and then when there is, like for us, as Dangote, even if power holding company have excess power, we will not use them because we are producing our power cheaper than them.
Another element expected to support the growth of cement companies in the medium term is a steady shift of government expenditure towards capital projects, which provide the infrastructure for robust growth.
Yes, Nigeria has a history of low capex spend when it comes to public expenditure. In the last 5-6 years, we've had just about 20%, 23% of government capital expenditure, government budget in capital expenditure. If we look at the recent fiscal plan by the current administration, that is expected to increase to about 32% in 2015. That is a lot of opportunities for the cement player to ramp up and increase sales and revenue.
All things considered, analysts are constructive about the outlook for cement players, which, like the broader market, had a negative year in 2011. The future certainly looks bright for cement players in Nigeria. In addition to the emerging export market, government investments in upgrading Nigeria's transport infrastructure and increased spending on housing should help sustain the growth of local demand. All that means that cement companies on the Nigerian bourse